Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodio. I'd like to welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Warriors 27. Just came across this gem. I was trying to order my comic books, which are a mess, especially the individual issues. This one's a tie-in into the Infinity War crossover, which I really loved back when I was a kid. Like Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, Infinity Crusade. Well, that one's not as good. It's okay. I was about to say Infinity Paradise, but no, that was Paradise X, and that's a whole nother story. But this particular standalone issue, I really liked because back when I was a kid, I really loved Speedball. He was like one of my favorite. I'm like all the New Warriors lineup, the whole lineup was pretty awesome. But like Speedball, he sort of like was the character that younger kids would gravitate to because he was like totally awesome and cool, and he would be super irreverent, and he was like the Michelangelo of the team. Aesthetically, like he's 90s as hell with his hairdo and all the colors. And like in this particular story, the artist did a really killer job. His name is Derick Robertson, and it's written by Fabian Nicieza. And the way the artist is able to work with and play around with Speedball's balls, these colored balls, really add to the story. They make the story very visually very interesting. So the big thing about this particular crossover is that Magus, who is the evil clone to, or the future version of Warlock, brings to the main Marvel universe evil versions of every hero. They're evil doppelgangers, and so each hero has to deal with their evil selves. And in this particular issue, Rage crosses paths with his, and later on we're gonna have Speedball having to deal with his evil version. And the funny thing is, right off the bat, Speedball sees these two Rages battling, and he attacks the wrong one. He attacks the one he doesn't recognize, and it's the real guy. It's the real Rage, and he gets really pissed off. He's, "You stupid idiot! I have this new costume that you saw last week. Why did you attack me?" So, because of this situation, the evil doppelganger is able to get away, and Speedball realizes there's probably an evil version of him running around out there, and he has to find it. And rereading this issue, I saw the advertisement to Castlevania 4. This game was freaking hard. I had a real hard time playing this game when I was a kid back in the day. To the point, it was like sort of stressful. It was like a chore. Like I really, at the end of the day, I didn't like the Castlevania series. At least for me, it wasn't my cup of tea. And the Contra series, like the Contra for Super Nintendo, I could never pass the first. I think I passed the first level once. It was too stressful. So let's get back to this story. So Rage hunts down his doppelganger, and when he's battling with it, he actually sort of accidentally absorbs the doppelganger, and so Rage now has to deal with all this evil within him, and this is going to sort of like have consequences for Rage. He's going to have issues restraining himself. Like he already has issues restraining himself. Now it's going to be worse. So Speedball hunts down his doppelganger. He goes back to his house, and everything's an utter mess. Like his doppelganger was causing all types of trouble. The police, when they see him, they think he's the bad version. They just straight up start shooting at him. Here's a really funny moment where a Speedball crosses paths with the Simpsons. So obviously here, Homer, Marge, Maggie, Lisa, and Bart. and they're not happy to see him because they dealt with also with his doppelganger. And thing I just wanted to mention about the Simpsons, back when I was a kid, they were a real big deal. Like culturally, they're freaking relevant. They were super popular. Now there's just like a shadow of what they used to be, and not as funny. Like it's been a real long time since I've seen a good new Simpsons episode. But the Simpsons were such a big deal, and super controversial that you couldn't, at my school, at my local school when I used to live in the States, you couldn't go with a Bart Simpson t-shirt. It was like you would get into trouble at the school with if you did that. So Speedball tries to find his he keeps on with his search, and like as I said before, the whole thing especially with this art, if it's really good, it doesn't feel dated, even though it does capture the spirit of the 90s. Like, especially like Rage's costume is 90s as hell, but it doesn't feel dated. The color scheme and the design. And the way the artist works with Speedball's balls makes things really interesting. So he hunts down his doppelganger. So we get this evil version of Speedball. And here, Speedball, this whole situation sort of shakes him. And so he's sort of like, Speedball is like super happy-go-lucky. He's always like the positive member of the team. And here the doppelganger just really pushes him. And Speedball is forced to kill him using his powers. And it's pretty cool to see Speedball shaken by the situation. And this sort of scares him, and how this doppelganger pushed him to do something really messed up. So it's like, it's a pretty good standalone story to show some level of character development to Speedball, that when he has to be serious or he has to deal with stuff, the character can go in that particular direction. Oh, another thing about the balls. Let's go back for 1 second. The detail with, as I mentioned before, Speedball's balls and the doppelganger's balls. So that looked all messed up. So here we get this page that's freaking awesome. There's a lot going down in this page. So here we have Speedball sort of forced to grow up really fast in 2 pages. We're a long way to go from the edgelord that we're going to get further down the line, with Speedball becoming penance and cutting himself and being really messed up in the head, dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff like that. Here he's still happy and happy-go-lucky. But at the end of the story, Speedball finds Rage. So they start talking, and Speedball's like, yeah, I had to deal with my doppelganger. I end up killing him. And Rage is like, I absorbed mine, and now I have this dark evil within me. And he tells him, gives him this big confession about, he's sort of worried with the situation. Speedball says nothing and says, hey, bye, I have to go. This part is just freaking hilarious. And it just really reminds me about my relationship sometimes with my friends. Like, sometimes you have to tell them something super serious, and they're quiet and they just change the subject because they don't want to talk about that. So this really reminds me of those type of things. So I hope you guys like this video, and see you guys next time.